Good morning, students. Today we can see about the next group which comes under the plant kingdom, that is bryophytes. When we see about the bryophytes, they are considered as the amphibians of the plant kingdom. What do you mean by the term amphibians? Amphi means both, bio means life, isn't it? That means the organisms can live both on land and water. But when we take about the plants cannot live both on land and water. That is, if a plant grows in the soil, they cannot move and they go to water and they can live in water. It is not possible, isn't it? Similarly, an aquatic plant cannot move from the water, come to the land and live in the soil. But even then, the term amphibian is used in the plant kingdom. Here, why it is used is these bryophytes, they normally live in the soil. They grow in soil, but they need water to complete their life cycle. That is, for their sexual reproduction, they need water. Okay, in the presence of water only, the gametes can move. The male gamete can move and reach the female gamete. So, for their sexual reproduction, they need water, and that's why they are said to be as amphibians of the plant kingdom. Okay, so these plants live in the soil, but they are dependent on water for completing their life cycle or for sexual reproduction. That's why bryophytes are said to be as the amphibians of the plant kingdom. When we see about their habitat, they can be seen growing in moist, shady areas in the hills. So, in a hilly area, always there will be moisture content or water content. So, they can easily grow in that regions. Or it can be seen growing in damp, humid and shaded localities. So damp means where water content is there, humid is moisture content. So if moisture content and humidity or moisture content and water content or dampy area is there, and if it is a shaded locality, then the plants can be seen growing. If it is not a shady region, what will happen? Due to the sunlight, the water will be easily evaporated from the plant and it may dry off. Okay, so always they need a damp or a moist, shady area where they can grow. Even you can see during the rainy season, they used to grow on the walls of the buildings. Okay, you might have watched that also. So why it grows during rainy season? Because water is available, so they can grow and they can complete their life cycle. That is, sexual reproduction can be completed. That's why they can be seen growing during the rainy season. Then these plants play an important role in plant succession on bare rock or bare soils. What do you mean by a bare rock? A bare rock means a rock where there is no life. Okay, no plant or no animal can be seen in that rock. That is bare rock. Even in soil, if no life is there, we can say it is a bare soil. Okay, so in that, succession can take place. What is succession? It is the bare rock or in an area, a group of plants will be occupying. First, a group of plants will be occupying, which will be followed by another group of plants. Again, it will be followed by some other type of plants. So, like that, one by one, different types of plants will be occupying in that area. And at last, even that area, that bare rock can be converted into a forest also. Okay. So, that is what we say it as succession. Okay. One group of plants followed by another group, that is said to be a succession. Okay, so in a bare rock means a rock where no plant or animals are there. Okay, so in that bare rock, what will happen? First, lichens will grow. Lichens, it is the symbiotic association between the fungi and bacteria. Bacteria means cyanobacteria or blue-green algae. Okay. Okay, so it is this symbiotic relationship between fungi and algae, we can say. Algae here means it is the cyanobacteria. Okay, so here both are mutually benefited, so they live together. So this lichens can grow on the rock surface. So in a bare rock, the first organism to inhabit the bare rock is the lichens. So the lichens will be growing there and it secretes certain chemicals. these chemicals will erode the rock and the soil will be formed. So when little soil is formed, suppose if a spore of the bryophyte falls on that, then the spore will develop and bryophyte will also grow there. Okay, then after lichen and bryophyte grows there, again more and more soil will be eroded, and then the next higher group of plants will be able to grow. Okay, like that pteridophytes, gymnosperms or angiosperms may grow. Now a doubt you can ask, that is, why a angiospermic plant cannot grow first itself on a bare rock. See, on a bare rock there is no soil. So if a plant, that is angiospermic plant, has to grow, it needs certain amount of soil. If no soil is there, even if you put a seed on that, what will happen? Even if it germinates, if water content or moisture it is getting, and even if it germinates, it cannot grow properly because the root cannot hold any rock particle. It has to hold the soil particle. But in the rock, such pieces will not be there. Then the plant may not be able to grow. Otherwise, a crack should be there through which the root can grow, isn't it? So soil will not be available in the beginning stage. That's why all the plants may not be able to grow on a bare rock at first itself. Okay, so first the lichen will be growing. It will erode the rock and produce some soil. Then after that, bryophytes and the other group of plants will be growing. That is why we can say this bryophytes help, or it plays a very important role in plant succession on a bare rock. Okay. When we see about the plant body is more differentiated than the algae. Algae is having a thallus plant body, isn't it? Now, these bryophytes are also having the thallus-like body only, but it is more developed than that of the algae. Okay, and this thallus is prostrate or erect. It will be growing prostrate or it grows erect. What do you mean by prostrate? It will be spreading on the soil surface. It will grow horizontally on the soil surface, just like the creepers or other plants which you have seen on the soil surface. Like that, it will be growing attached to the soil surface, that is prostrate. Some of the bryophytes will be growing prostrate and some may grow erect. Erect means they grow vertically upwards. Okay, so here you can see this plant, it is growing vertically upwards. But if you see Erixia, it will be growing prostrate on the soil surface. Okay, now the thallus is attached to the substratum by unicellular or multicellular rhizoids. What is meant by this substratum? Substratum is an object or a surface on which the plant will be attached. Okay, a surface or an object on which the plant attaches is said to be as substratum. So the thallus will be attaching to the substratum by means of unicellular or multicellular rhizoids. What are rhizoids? They are the root-like structures. So here you can see the root-like structures present at the base, that is base of this plant body, which by which it attaches to the substratum, that is the rhizoids. Okay, so rhizoids means the root-like structures. Okay, then they lack the true root, stem or leaves. That means they are not having a true root, stem and leaves. Only they are having what? Root-like, leaf-like and stem-like structures. Okay, that means the stem, root and leaves are not well developed. Okay, so they are having a root-like, leaf-like or a stem-like structure. So here you can see the stem-like structure is there. In that the green colored structures you can see, that is the leaf-like structures are there. Okay, so this is about the plant body. The main plant body is haploid in nature and it is said to be a gametophyte. Okay, the main plant body, that is what we have seen in the previous slide. So this is the main plant body, isn't it? So this main plant body is said to be as a gametophyte. Why it is said to be as a gametophyte? Because it produces gametes. It produces the gametes. You can see the parts which are seen attached to the soil surface. That is the main plant body, that is called the gamete, because it produces the gametes. That's why it is named as gametophyte. And this gametophytic plant body, the main plant body, is haploid in nature. What do you mean by haploid? Haploid means the cells which are having one set of chromosome. That is said to be as haploid. Suppose with the example of human beings, if I say we are having 46 chromosomes, isn't it? We are diploid. That is, our cells are having 46 chromosomes. What do you mean by that 46 chromosome? That is 23 pairs of chromosomes are there. 23 pairs means 23 is one set of chromosome. Another 23 is another set of chromosome. So as we are having two sets, 23 pairs, that means 23 plus 23, 46 chromosomes are there. We are diploid. Di means two. So we are having two sets of chromosomes. But here if you take the main plant body is haploid in nature. That means they are having only one set of chromosomes. Okay. And in this gametophyte, in this main plant body, only the sex organs will be formed. Okay, the male and the female sex organs develop in this gametophyte, and these sex organs are multicellular in nature. They are multicellular. That means it is not single celled, it is made up of many cells. Okay, the sex organs are made up of many cells. The male sex organ is called as antheridium. Okay, so this is the antheridium. It is the male sex organ and it produces the male gamete called antherozoids. Okay, what is the name of the male gamete? It is antherozoid and it is biflagellate in nature. What is biflagellate? Bi means two. They are having two flagella. So if you assume this as the antherozoid, it is having two flagella like this. Okay, so with this two flagella, it will be moving in the water. Okay, so it is having two flagella. That's why it is said to be as biflagellate. So the male sex organ is called antheridium and it produces the male gamete called antherozoids, which is having two flagella. The female sex organ is called as archegonium. So here you can see the archegonium. This is the antheridium and this is the archegonium. Okay, and the archegonium, if you see, it is the female sex organ and the shape is somewhat flask shape. You can see here somewhat flask shaped it is. Okay, so the female sex organ is called as archegonium and it is flask shaped. Okay, and inside that flask shaped archegonium, we can see at the base an egg is present. So only one egg will be there, or a single egg will be produced in each archegonium. So here the purple colored structure, that is what? The egg. Okay, so only one egg will be produced inside the archegonium. Yes. Now the antherozoids which are released from this antheridium, antherozoids or the male gametes which are released from this antheridium will be moving through the water current. It will be released into the water. Okay, it will be, antherozoids will be released in the water and it moves through that water and then it comes in contact with the archegonium. So when once it comes in contact with the archegonium, you can see here, yes, opening is there in this region. If you see, an opening is there. So through that the male gamete will be entering inside the archegonium and it reaches the basal part of the archegonium where the egg is present. Okay, and this antherozoid will fuse with the egg and now it produces a zygote. The zygote is diploid in nature. What is diploid? Di means two, isn't it? Diploid means it is having two set of chromosome. Why it is having two set of chromosome? Because it is formed as a result of fusion of antherozoid with the egg. Antherozoid is the male gamete which is having one set of chromosome. Egg is the female gamete which is having one set of chromosome. So one set plus one set, it becomes two set of chromosome. Okay, that's why the zygote is diploid in nature. Okay, now this diploid zygote will not undergo meiosis immediately. What is meiosis? It is reduction division. What do you mean by reduction division? It is a type of cell division in which the parent cell, when it divides, it will be producing daughter cells which are having half the number of chromosomes. How many chromosomes will be there? Half the number of chromosomes. That is, if the zygote is having diploid chromosome, the cells which are formed as a result of meiosis will be having haploid chromosome. That is, only one set of chromosome they will be having. Okay. So such a division where the chromosome number will be reduced to half is called as meiosis. Even in our body cells also, in when male gametes and female gametes are produced, our diploid cell will undergo meiosis and produce haploid gametes. So gametes will be having haploid chromosome. That is only one set of chromosome. Okay. So here the zygote is diploid in nature and the zygote will not undergo meiosis immediately. Okay. Then what happens to that diploid zygote? It produces a multicellular body which is called as a sporophyte. Okay, what will be developed? A multicellular body called sporophyte will be developing. So here, in this picture, what you are seeing is a sporophyte. Okay, so from where it is produced? From the zygote. Zygote is diploid. Where is it present? In the gametophyte. Okay, in the gametophyte only the zygote is present. So from that zygote, like this elongated structure will be formed. Okay. Elongated structure will be formed, and this we can say it as what? The sporophyte. Okay, here you can see these structures are the sporophyte. Okay, and in this structure you can see it is attached with the gametophyte only. It is not grown separately. It is attached with the gametophyte. That means the zygote will divide and it produce the structure called the sporophyte, which is having a foot by which it is attaching, then a long stalk-like structure, at the tip a swollen structure, that is the capsule. So this structure will be formed and this is said to be as the sporophyte. Okay, and the sporophyte is attached with the gametophyte. The gametophyte is photosynthetic in nature. Why it is photosynthetic in nature? Because it is having leaf-like structures, isn't it? The green colored leaf-like structures are there which can perform photosynthesis and synthesize the food material. So that food can be used up by the sporophyte also. So the sporophyte is attached to the photosynthetic gametophyte and it will be getting the nutrition from it. Okay, it derives the nutrition from it. Okay, then some cells of the sporophyte, especially this structure, this swollen structure is called the capsule. Okay, so some cells which are present in that capsule, that is in the sporophyte, will undergo meiosis and it produce the haploid spores. So all the cells will not undergo meiosis. Only some of the cells which are present in the sporophyte, that is inside the capsule, will undergo meiosis and it produces haploid spore. Meiosis, I told you, it is reduction division. So the diploid cell is undergoing meiosis. As a result, haploid spores will be formed. Okay. Now these spores, when it falls onto an proper environment, that is where damp or moisture content is there, when the spores fall on that region, it will germinate and produce the new gametophyte. A new bryophytic plant will be developing. Okay, just like a seed, when it falls, a new plant, angiospermic plant will be growing, isn't it? Just like that, here when the spores fall onto the suitable environment, suitable surface, it develops into the next new plant. That is, which phase will be formed? Gametophytic phase will be arising from the spores. Okay, so the life cycle of this plant, this bryophytes, is having two phases, isn't it? Two generation, we can say, gametophytic and sporophytic generation, which will be alternating with each other. So we cannot say each generation as a separate plant growth, plant part. Okay, it is a plant part means separate plants. It is not a separate plants. It belongs to the same plant, but two life forms is there. Okay, one part is the gametophyte and another part is the sporophyte. When both these generations alternate with each other, one life cycle will be completed. Okay, so again, if you say, I can say from this spore, a gametophyte will be developing. This gametophyte will be bearing the sex organs. The antheridium is the male sex organ. Female sex organ is the archegonium. Antheridium produces the antherozoids, the male gamete, which fuses with the female gamete called the egg. As a result, a diploid zygote will be formed. This diploid zygote develops into a sporophyte, which is attached to the gametophyte only. Inside the sporophyte, some of the cells will undergo meiosis and produces haploid spores. This haploid spores fall onto any surface, moist surface, where it develops into a new gametophyte. Okay, so this is about the life cycle of bryophytes. Now when we see about the economic importance, it is having little economic importance only. Okay, they provide food for herbaceous mammals, birds and other animals. Okay, herbaceous mammals means what? The mammals which eat plant as their food. So for them, the bryophytes will be acting as a food. It provides food for herbaceous mammals, birds and other animals. Then there is a species called sphagnum. It is a moss. In the picture you can see this is what a moss. Okay, sphagnum moss. So this moss will provide peat. What is this peat? Peat means it is a brown colored deposit which is formed by the partial decomposition of the plant matter. Okay. So this sphagnum, it is a bryophyte, it is a plant, isn't it? So this plant, when it dies off, it will be decomposed, and that partially decomposed part of that plant is said to be as peat, which can be used as a fuel. It can be used as water fuel, as well as it can be used as a packaging material for transshipment of living materials. What is meant by transshipment of living materials? Transporting any living materials from one place to another. Okay. So for that, as a packaging material it is used. That means it is having the capacity to hold water. Which one? This peat is having the capacity to hold water. Just like in algae we have seen hydrocolloids which can hold water. Isn't it like that? In this bryophyte, this sphagnum moss, the peat which is produced from that is having the capacity to hold water. So because of that property, it is used as a packing material for the transshipment of any living material. Okay. Then this mosses along with the lichens are the first organism to colonize rock. So in the beginning I told you that is in a bare rock, the first organism to occupy that rock will be lichens, isn't it? So along with the lichens which can also colonize the bare rock, it is the mosses. Okay, first the lichens will be colonizing the rock, and followed by that the mosses will be there. Okay, so we can say mosses along with the lichens are the first organism to colonize the rocks. So it is of great ecological importance. Okay, to maintain the ecological balance, this is very much essential. The mosses play an important role. Okay, then these mosses can form dense mats. Dense mat means what? See, mat means, mat you know, isn't it? Floor mat we are using. So it will be thick, isn't it? So like that, this mosses will be growing and they form dense mats on the soil. So when it forms a mat-like structure with thick, densely populated mosses are growing, then what will happen? It can reduce the impact of the falling rain. When rain falls on them, it can reduce its impact. It will not allow the soil to get removed, the top soil to get removed and to be washed away. Okay, so thus it can prevent water, soil erosion. So we can say it form dense mats on the soil to reduce the impact of falling rain, and thus it can prevent soil erosion. Soil erosion means you know, washing away the top soil by the rain or the rainwater or the wind. So when rain is there, it can remove all the top soil. It can carry away all the top soil, isn't it? So that can be prevented by the growth of this mosses. When they grow in more amount, they form dense mats, mat-like structures, so that they can prevent soil erosion. Okay, so these are some of the economic importance of bryophytes. Okay, I hope you have understood this.